Hi, Watson. You good? Calm? Okay. All right.
All right, welcome to the Odyssey of Man podcast. I'm Patrick,
I'm Jake. This is Watson.
and that's Watson. Today it's sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon,
Yes,
long-term
the
account.
nectar of the gods.
We're going to start off with a quote that I chat GPT because I couldn't remember the exact thing. Let me bring it up. Where is it?
And our friend is over here on the side, so if Watson deviates, which is a good thing, it's because Senior's over here.
So today we're talking about masculinity and what our thoughts are about it. It's probably going to be a several videos that we dive into masculinity, but it's a complicated. It shouldn't be, but it's a complicated topic, especially nowadays.
All you need to know is that what you see is top tier masculinity, but it's very complicated.
In my pink outfit,
Yeah.
right, I rock pink hard. So basically, I feel like this is very fitting. I see this all the time on Instagram, but it's hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and that's a cycle of life basically. And right now, I feel like we were in good times. We're in the weak men are creating shit times basically right now.
When would you think we were in good times? If you had to put if you had to define it, when was a good time?
I don't know if there was good times during our lifetime, but I feel like hard times. At some point in history, there were hard times that created strong men, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Roman Empire. I know no one likes that was a whole thing surfacing. Do you talk about how often does your boyfriend bring up the Roman Empire? And it's like that was a huge thing that was surfacing social media.
So between that and then I was telling Patrick yesterday, I talked with one of my close friends. Her and I talked for like almost 4.5 hours on the phone, and one of the things that came up was the basic masculine urge to like die in battle or like die for something that's bigger than yourself. So it's like serving for country, or like having your family escape while you hold off some bigger threat. It's like this noble romantic thing to sacrifice yourself, and it's because you're supposed to be in service as a man. And we just like talked about what it is to be a man for a long time, and it almost contradicts itself in so many ways, so many times. And I think that it's very imperative that it's talked about.
I was just seeing where your microphone is.
I hung mine. I didn't give you a lapel
that's all right.
because I knew you'd end up losing it or something.
I lose
so.
it and I
in the
forget.
void of the couch or something.
Yeah.
But so masculinity, it's weird. It's almost like a 3-part thing. It's masculinity from the perception of a man, and then that isn't even a 2-step process. It's from internalized as a man, and then what other men want other men to be. There's society's expectation of men, and that's both making the cogs of society function. And then there's women's perspective of men, and that is a whole different topic because that changes like the wind. So I don't know if you have any insight you'd like to share first.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we said, this can be multiple things, but we can talk about the past, the present, the future. Like, I actually, when I was actually, I'm going back to school in 2017 to finish my history degree. In my seminar, I had to compile a thesis on advertisements and throughout the 19th century or the 20th century, and it was basically my whole thesis was on how masculinity evolved from the 70s throughout the 70s, and I compiled a bunch of different ads and whatnot, and you would see like from like the an aftermath from like the 1800s moving through the 1900s of the western, like all the Marvel ads and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real man, like Western guy and
smoking the cigarette in the
smoking,
suit, having the long stretched out car, like the classic
yeah,
take no
or
shit man, like
or riding a horse or yeah,
oh
like
yeah.
and then but then you'd see like this evolution because the 70s were started to become a very fluid era where like guys
Lots
started
of
you
fluid.
started seeing the 50s were very strict. 70s, late 60s, after the counterculture had an impact in society, you'd start to see men like posing in their underwear and whatnot, and things ads started becoming a little more like what they would associate with homosexual back then,
God damn.
but like I mean nowadays because it's like very common, it's like that we wouldn't say that, but like back then they would, and like so some dude, like a bunch of dudes together in their underwear and socks posing for a friggin' Hanes early stage Hanes commercial almost, and it was like that
Only
was an
men wear tighty
advertisement,
whities. I'm not a man in that regard.
Yeah, I don't wear whitey tighties.
I just free ball all the time.
And whitey tighties are like, what happens if you crap your pants? And it's like now you can see.
And then we suddenly have to decide to go swimming. You got to take your pants off.
Yeah, it's like that's weird. I don't know. That's
oh, Patrick shit his pants.
You shit your pants in boxers, you ain't seeing that. It's
just
like
falling out the side.
Yeah. Boxer briefs, black boxer briefs. You're
good. You're good.
You can rock those all day.
Yeah.
Although they say underwear now, it's filled with plastic.
Well, yeah, boxer briefs are like not a thing anymore. It was boxers, and then that wasn't a thing. Then boxer briefs, and somehow tighty whities always stayed relevant this entire time. And
yeah,
because chicks dig like older dudes, like so they're ready for guys who are in homes. It depends.
There you go. So,
what's a masculine male? Someone in depends. Who can provide for me and my lavish order oysters for the table.
$4 oysters. You want to drop all your paychecks on oysters that literally are like 200 calories, and you're like not feeling full.
It's sexy because it's an aphrodisiac. Didn't you know? Yeah.
That's filled with I feel like
we're eating stomachs and guts of a clam. So, but
basically, so I was sitting with this guy the other day. One of my dad's longtime friends. And my dad passed away 5 years ago, and like so I chat with him whenever I need to talk about stuff. And as a senior male figure in my life, which is always good to have, and he's been kind of like a mentor. So basically, he's a southern dude that likes to hunt. You've met him. He likes to shoot guns and stuff, and
he's a good guy.
And he grew up in the South. He lives up here now, and he works for he's a neurologist that works on studying the brain. So he's a smart dude. So we had this discussion, basically, and he asked me like what I thought were the characteristics of masculinity. And so these are the things that I came up with of authentic manhood, which was having fortitude, humility, honesty, compassion, vulnerability, and transparency. But I also wrote down beard and motorcycles, guns as hobbies. But like, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be
that high testosterone,
and riding motorcycles to, or driving a truck to be masculine.
That's a lie. But anyway, yeah, you do. But no, just kidding. If
you're driving a Prius, you definitely are not.
I know somebody who drives a Prius, but no, the thing is, it's funny. You just listed qualities that honestly every human being should have, but men are always the staple. And that's like a weird thing too, is that like there's the feminist movement, like they were tired of being told what to do and having unfair practices. And I understand where that came from, but men were always the staple. And then it just got this really weird dynamic, but we all should strive for that. That is like, those characteristics are like what make good human beings. Not just good men, because if you have good men and shitty women, then it's like, then society doesn't fix itself. Integrity, is crucial. Perseverance, yeah, huge. In the face of diversity. And then
I think what shows, I think, a strong person in general is basically when you're going. So like I was talking about this with my younger brother, and like what your true character comes out in a times of negativity or weak times,
and
challenges through your life,
yeah,
and how you act as a person, because the reason
it shows your true colors when you're in face with diversity. Yeah,
normally like I'm pretty chill in situations like that, but recently I lashed out on my family, and family's been going through a lot, and And I lashed out on my mom and my brother in, what was that, Easter weekend. And I think my mom cried. I felt pretty bad about it. And then I reached out and apologized. And then my younger brother hit me with like dope wisdom. And I'm like, shit, I'm a terrible person. So I was like, all right, I need to check myself. And I'm looking
Before you
inward.
wreck yourself.
Before I wreck myself. I'm looking inward. I'm like, why am I like this? And there's just a few things in my life currently, which is why we started the podcast and trying to get out and do stuff. And
like today.
today we did stuff. Today,
and it felt good.
We went to the gun store, and
they tried to sell me a $2,400 rifle. And the old me would have bought it sight unseen, just like.
But Jake's grown. He's grown as a person. He didn't buy it on the scene.
In more ways than you can see right now.
and then we went to the Harley store, and they tried to sell me on an $18,000 bike.
5-year-old motorcycle.
I don't even have a motorcycle license yet.
And I flat out was like, yeah, he doesn't
know that. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking for maybe something a little cheap.
That guy was the weirdest salesman I've ever seen. He's like, yeah, brother, come check this out. It's this bike. I might buy it and add it to my stash, but I'm not a responsible male. And then he's also like we're gonna look up to him. And he's like, yeah, brother, I ride Harleys. This one's 18 grand, 5 years old, but this is my other bike, and his other bike was pretty cool. But he's like, yeah, bro, you don't want to be on any introductory bike at all. You want to go right to the flagship, $20,000. And Pat's like, yeah, I don't really think so. I don't really think that's the move, brother. He's like, again, I'm not a good salesman, but
I would kind of want to
I could be your friend. Do you want to hang out socially? Like,
so I get the smaller bikes aren't gonna fit for me, but if I'm learning how to ride a motorcycle, like in just everyday society, I should start with something maybe a little cheaper.
Yeah, for anybody who's interested in riding a motorcycle, female, male, or otherwise, get a Ninja 250 or 500 or a Buell Blast.
I don't like the Ninjas though.
And they're ugly, but that's the whole point because you drop them and it's like, I don't care.
Oh man.
And then my friend Brendan's over here, and he wants to get an Indian or a Yamaha or a Corvette. But yeah, you want to start off with something. I started off with a Sportster. I'm 6 feet, a little like a centimeter under 6 feet. Oh no, I'm not dateable now. And then
they have shoes for that.
Yeah, they have the elevator shoes. Yeah,
they make guy shoes now where you can add 2 inches to your height.
I have the 2 inches somewhere else.
All right. Anyway, but so yeah, no, it's like so we
2-inch Punisher.
Checked out the Harley. I guess it's good to look at the bikes
that
are over expensive.
They're way too expensive.
Range. Unless we have a crypto summer, then I'm buying a $20,000 bike. I'm
gonna buy 7 motorcycles.
It's and
fingers crossed.
But and then where we go? Then we would have a burger and a beer.
2 beers.
2 beers. Yeah, that's kind of manly.
It is. Yeah. You're only a man if you drink alcohol. Yeah.
You're only a man if you drink alcohol.
But there's this weird thing, and that is actually a really good segue to that, is that, do you notice the double standard, like, where women will be like, if they're interviewed, like, what do you think a man should be? And they're like, well, I just think he should be debonair and put together, and I want a man to lead, and then I want him to be financially responsible and take care of me because I want to raise our kids and be a trad wife and all this stuff. But then the people they actually fall for, it's like, here's this guy with no emotion, this G.I. Joe guy. And he's just like, who is this guy? Oh, he's, he's an ex-con or some shit. I don't know. Just like, you look at what they say and then who they go for, and it's like.
No, or it could be it's a stereotype of some dude that they want an emotional guy that's romantic and can take them out and plan fun dates, but like something, but the guy that they're with is like a dude that's like basically no emotions,
selling crack,
beating his wife or girlfriend or whatever, or emotionally abusive, and like, because he's trying to overcompensate for something that like lacking purely in his life.
He needs a lifted truck,
and he's got a lifted truck. He's got a lifted truck or something else he's overcompensating with, bragging about it. It's like, are these guys masculine men? Like, yeah, they might be like blue collar work with their hands or whatever, and like stuff. But I mean, if you're hitting someone, like, I mean, you need to get yourself checked out, But and it's usually someone that they're beating up on or they're taking down is like someone that's inferior to them. It's never someone that's stronger than them or someone that's they of course they're never gonna attack someone that's like bigger,
Yeah, somebody
smarter, like
checks
fat.
them who's bigger and they just fold right
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
people that like lack that level of confidence always go after people that are lesser, like feel or they seem lesser to
Well,
them.
we were talking about this. My friend Natalie and I were talking about this last night. We have this friend. I won't say his name, and no one would know who he was anyway. But we grew up together. He's 6'8". He's 260 pounds. And when I introduced him to all my friends, everyone was like blown away by him. He's this big hulking guy, deep voice, drives a Mustang. Very wealthy. And everybody like, oh, he's so this, he's so that, and they would like, even though he's kind of crazy, and he would say some really like off-brand things, and people would just ignore it because they're like, oh, he's intimidating, he's big, he's a man, he's like whatever. And I was the only guy way shorter than him. He's 6'8", 260 or whatever, and I'm we'll call it 5'11", 6 feet, 180 pounds. And I'm the only person who goes up like, no, that's anti-Semitic. No, that's this. Like, I don't fuck with that. Like, and we would always get into fistfights, and he would always beat my ass. And it's kind of like, well, is Jake not a man because he's losing, or is Jake a man because he's standing up for what he believes in, even though he's going to get his ass kicked every time? Like, head slapping the concrete every time, and then being like, oh, Jake just keeps getting his ass beat by this other kid, so the other kid must be the man. But the man is a disrespectful, inconsiderate, like racist,
Yeah, I mean,
anti-Semitic, and I'm like, no, this is not cool. Like, get
I
your
mean,
shit together, and then I get pummeled, and I'm the bad guy.
in that situation, if you're standing up for something you believe in, at least you're standing up. I mean,
Like five,
that'd be
six
like
times, I got my ass handed to
you
me, and then
standing.
people are like, why do you keep doing this? And it's like,
You could have a masculine guy go up against Conor McGregor in a fight, and you're like, obviously, you're gonna get your ass kicked unless
yep,
you're a UFC trained fighter.
yeah.
So it's like, does that make you not a dude? I
Who
don't.
the fuck is Jake Allen?
I personally don't think physically fighting is a way of showing masculine strength. I think that is a misconception that has evolved over time that people will fight people to prove their strength and their alpha card.
I think that comes from like genetics though. I think that comes from like where we were 10,000 years ago. Like even duels to the death or like defending your honor, like
Duels to the death, though, like in
I'd
the
still do that.
1800s, were pistols and fucking
I'd win.
swords. So it's like
I'd win.
no one's fighting each other. They're literally shooting pistols that are not accurate, and then when
Yeah.
they miss, they're going to sword.
Damn, like
It's like I don't know. I feel like to some extent, I almost feel like if you can, I mean, maybe there is a time where you need to fight and defend yourself and that's some level of honor, but just going and being like every single time you get into an argument, you're gonna fight someone. I just feel like
that's not good.
that's just
But
like
you know what's
an
funny about that
overcompensation.
is, all right, look at this. Like a man, they're like, there's so many definitions of a man, and then there's well, I need a man that can take care of me financially and is there emotionally and is there for me to support me and listens to me. And then, but also, I can run, and I've seen this time and time again. Like, let's say a woman gets drunk and they run their mouth. Well, the man needs to back me up and handle things, and then if he loses the fight, oh, that's embarrassing. I'm not turned on anymore, or like whatever. And I've seen it so many times, and it's like, what is the woman doing? And it's like, well, I'm with the man, or I bring me to the table. I define my own worth, and all this stuff. And
I
if
guess
you or I tried to define our own worth, other dudes would be like, no. Like if you were like, honest to God, if you were like, I know my worth and I won't settle for anything less than Sydney Sweeney, who S my D's every day, and I know what I'm worth, and if she's not good enough, then I know my worth. Someone will come along, but other guys would be like, you're insane. But then women is like, oh, yes, queen, preach, queen, you deserve everything. And then there's these cut guys who are like, I will give you everything you've ever wanted and more, and then they still cheat on that guy with somebody else. It's just like this. Do you actually want what they say they want? That's why I think the definition of a man doesn't even matter. I think it's like blurred into obscurity because I think it's important for, first and foremost, the solution is to just be yourself, own that you are who you are, and then find what you believe in and stand on your business. Be like, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. I don't care if I'm not just going to say yes to sleep with you or like whatever. Like, this is who I am. If we don't vibe, someone else is out there that will. And
Well, I think
it's
that also leads to another is just like you grow up in high school, college, in our times, like American Pie era of filming. It's
Yeah.
like basically how many girls can you sleep with to gain like. So if you're in the non-Christian world, it's how many girls you can sleep with to prove how masculine you are, how many notches on your belt. And then if you're in the Christian world, it's like the numbers are like, let's say you have 8 girls you've slept with
Are
or
they
whatever.
born again Christians after they've had sex with 60 guys, or are these like
No. This
raised?
is
Okay,
this is
'cause that's the thing.
you've had you've let's say you slept with 8 people. In the Christian world, they'll say
You're going to hell.
you're
You're already
basically
there.
screwed. You're a monster.
You're Satan.
But meanwhile, this is pure. This is so so this so
I like to have fun. It's important to have fun.
so then, but then if you're in the non-Christian world, you're a loser for sleeping with 8 girls. So it's like I mean, yeah, the concepts of what is masculine. I personally feel like at this point in life, it's like I'm not trying to sleep with random people. Anytime I match with them
Same.
on a dating,
Same.
that's a lie.
Well, it's not entirely a lie. I canceled that date for
Brendan's
Friday that
over
I
here
had.
going like, yes. No.
My problem is that it's oh god, it's gonna sound so fucking convoluted, but I get like 30 or 50 matches a day, and it's like I match with like 5 of them or 10 of them, and you all suck, and then you don't have a personality, but you're like, I want a man who communicates, but then I don't know how to communicate or have a conversation. I asked some girl like, hey, do you want to text? And she's like, oh, I got in my own head, so I didn't, but like things never work out for me. Yeah, it's your fault. Like I didn't do anything, but I only going forward as a man, like with self growth, it's like I don't just want to have sex with people anymore. It's anymore.
Well, I feel like
it's the prerogative. The word
in
is,
any relationship. I feel like if you're
ooh,
gonna
it's
have
sex. We can all do it. It's
a
like
long-lasting relationship, there's going to be points where you're not having sex on a daily
yeah,
basis. Or
I'm
on a weekly basis.
emotionally attracted to people's intelligence and like
So can you hang
character
with that,
traits.
Can you hang with that person in a relationship and not be just having sex every day?
Women have that special, like they'd be like, oh, I'm born with, you know, sorry, I'm born with a vagina, I'm born with this, I immediately have worth, which isn't always true, but for the most part it is. And it's like, there's always going to be some guy out there at the base level of his desires being like, yes, I'll do whatever you want to have sex with me. And I'm not that guy. And it's like, I think that's the wrong way to look at things. You have these girls who don't know how to communicate, a lot of them. They have emotional baggage. They've been run through because for whatever reason, and that's fine. That's completely okay. But it's not what I'm looking for. And modeling myself after what I think a man should be, I think you need to find someone who has maybe a past, owns that past, be like, hey, this is who I am. And this is the baggage that I come with, but I'm trying to be better.
Or saying, this is how I was.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
and this is how I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, again, myself, where I come from a Christian background, I'm Christian, is like, yeah, I've slept with people. That is in my past, but I am trying to not sleep with the first girl I'm talking to, so that I can develop a genuine connection with somebody.
That's a whole nother topic that women don't like to be rejected. So if they're like feeling you and you're like, no, I'm good, they're like,
that already happened.
Fuck,
that happened
yeah.
to me once, and
they don't like that,
and it did not go well for me. And I'm like, well, I thought we were just
I've rejected a lot of people.
hitting it off as friends. I was like, I'm not trying to sleep with anyone.
Yeah, they go off the premise like we're just friends, and you're like, yeah,
and
we're just friends.
I was like, I
what?
feel like a monster. I'm like, all of a sudden, I was like, what did I do wrong? It's like, I honestly think that's what happened. I just said, that's what I said. It's like, but then it's like, does that make me less of a man, or does that make me more of a man?
I'd say it makes you more of a man.
Stood up for something I believe in. I feel like if you have certain values and you stick to them,
yes,
it's like, I find people that are less of a man, like the whole thing we were talking earlier, that
they fold for everything. They just go with the flow. It's like,
like
they just say, oh,
someone's willing to sleep with them, and they throw their values and everything they stand for straight out the window.
Oh, I have a girlfriend, but this girl's giving me attention. She's societally hotter than my girlfriend, and maybe we're going through a rough patch. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, nah.
Gone.
No.
I feel like
when you're in a relationship, you own the relationship. If you don't want to be in the relationship, you leave the relationship. There's no pussyfooting around. It's like, this is our relationship. If it's not, it's not.
Then break it off.
People are just so emotionally starved.
Or you have these. I've dated several girls, unfortunately. I mean, they were nice people to an extent.
I don't know them, so I don't care.
Carrying emotional baggage, but that dated guys that either mentally or physically abused them, or they married those people too. Like at some point they were like, "This is who I want to marry," because and like yeah, they were gun wielding. I don't think they were, but the truck driving, like it's like beard, like, and you're like, all right, this guy's a masculine dude. And he's a cop, or he's a some kind of blue collar person, alcohol, but they're all alcoholics, and it's like they're doing it, and they're cheating on their wife, and
Yep.
they have kids, and then they're going back to their wife, pretending and lying about whatever, and it's
Or
like,
vice versa.
it's like I don't find that to be very masculine at all. To me, that feels like a very
Well,
weak,
just look at like
a weak
statistics.
personality.
Yeah,
It's
look
like,
at statistics. We'll call it 8-9 billion people in the world. Yes, there's the logistics of that is somebody is going to sleep with you and throw their ambitions to the wind, whether you're married or not. I know many people like that who would just be like, oh, they're hot and they were there and available, so I slept with them.
well,
And
but that's
I'm
also
not that.
that
I
goes
don't.
into like the characters I
You
brought up
can't
in the
help who you
beginning.
like, right? Like there's always the temptation of there's always a temptation to reach out and be like, oh, I like you and all this stuff. That's human. That's normal.
But
It's
if you don't want to be with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and you want to sleep around, then
then
go sleep.
leave.
Then leave them and go sleep. Do what you want to do. It's like don't be like cheating
Watson.
and stuff, and then like if you like
Watson.
runs over the camera and
Yeah, I was like, he's gonna knock over the camera.
um, but yeah, don't be. I mean, to me, I feel like that's very like you can't say that you're like hardcore in all these areas, and all of a sudden this is what you're doing. Like I was like, you drop like 10 pages in my book, and I wouldn't say I'm the manliest of men ever.
Don't you say that to yourself. You are.
I'm a masculine man.
I make my own terms.
But I can wear pink and no one
Yeah.
who cares.
My mom doesn't dress me anymore.
My mom, she doesn't buy my clothes at Kohl's.
She doesn't stop at Baby Gap anymore.
Although I think it's the last time my mom bought clothes for me. Like, I know some people that mom still buys them clothes, and I'm like,
My mom tries.
oh really?
She tries. She'd be like, "Oh, I bought this for you. Try this on." I'm like, "I hate trying on clothes. I'm not doing it. I am overwhelmed. I have ADD. It can't be now." She's like, "Well, I'll return it." And I'm like, "Again, yeah, totally. I didn't ask you to do any of this."
I mean, if I specifically tell, like, mom was like, "Oh, we're gonna get for Christmas," I'm like, I don't want gifts. I'm a big
I don't
not
want
a gift person. I don't like gifts.
I don't believe in cards or gifts, which makes things complicated.
And
all these chicks on dating apps are like, "Oh, I want flowers and oysters."
They're like,
and
my
blah,
love
blah,
language
blah, blah.
is gifts. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, swipe left. Yeah. Again,
My love language is to be in a relationship with you, but sleep with someone else. Oh, but no, it's. I think what you were saying about men standing on principle. I think regardless of what women do or weak men do, it's important as a man to just be like, these are my morals. I don't care what you say. This is what I'm standing on business doing. And if you don't agree with it, you can just go on down the road.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I say in my head, I imagine like a masculine guy that's like married, that has that would be married, would be have kids, and like being like, he's with his wife, and I said that twice. And it's like, and like maybe he's in some position of whatever, and but like he's like turning people down because he loves his wife and kids and his family, and it's like that. But someone that literally,
and women test men who are married because they want the guy who's not available because they're a safe bet. So like they see the ring. It happened to me all the time. It would be like, oh my god, like, and then people who never wanted to give me the time of day, whether they were intimidated or thought I wasn't shit or otherwise, they see the ring and they're like, and they know who I'm married to, and they're like all of a sudden want all my attention, and then I wouldn't give it to them, and they would hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram, like all my posts, like all my stuff, and it's like that's an issue in and of itself. But if you're a man, you just know like I'm gonna shut that shit down, and if it's not even for unless you are keeping your options open, and that's not a manly thing because you should already want to be out of your relationship, and like you can only control what you can do.
yeah. I mean,
So
I guess, yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about relationships, but I mean, outside of relationships, I mean, what is a masculine man? I mean, it's like I was like,
well, as a man, what do you think? Because we'll just do all three, and then
I think to some level of extent, I feel like this is what's thing is, and it's evolved over the years. Is like I'm a big art guy. You like art and music, and I think growing
poetry. I love poetry, and I love
poetry's dope. I like history. But like masculine men, like growing up in like high school and like college, it's like if you liked art, you're considered gay. It's like I don't know how that factors out because like everything we look at, it's probably one of the most
I'm the
ignorant.
true definition of gay. I'm happy. Happy AF. Yeah.
It's one of the most ignorant things to say to hear that coming from any dude. Because
Yeah.
I look at that person, I'm like, wow, you're a dumbass, and I'm like
You're a closeted little bitch. Is what you
everything
are.
that
Yeah.
you look at, sit on, or part, whether it's some kind of formed art, someone created and designed that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you look at is structured, even the outside. So it's like, nature and whatever. It's like what you just said is the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. But hey, I mean, that's the world. If that's the way you want to live your life,
Yeah,
you
they
can
got
go
an
on.
IQ of about fucking 4. But yeah.
But no, yeah, it's like art's pretty dope. Someone that can create stuff like that. It's like back in the Renaissance period, those dudes I would imagine are like those were like the epitome of men. Like
Yeah.
dudes that were like architects. They were in architecture, science. They were sculptors. They were painters. They were like they did it all. It's like, I mean, if you can do something like that, I mean, that far succeeds, someone that's like nowadays. It's like driving a pickup truck, drinking a 6-pack of Bud Light a day,
A lot of that is social.
and
Is social
and like
warp. Is social warping. Like, oh, pickups are big and manly, and then women like big, and they're like, oh, that guy's so tall. He's so big. Oh, that truck's so big, and it's like, use your fucking brain. It's like just like
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know. Like there's a manly guy out there somewhere who is
there
proficient
could be a guy
in
though that has all that and is a chill
100%,
dude, but
100%. Like if I were to self-identify what I would consider a man, it would be someone who stands on principle, is handy,
I
is not
think
afraid to like
defending
throw down.
defending your principles
Yeah,
and defending your family
in your honor,
is
or their
fine.
honor.
Like uh
But it's also selfish. Like if you were like, oh, that thing of like dying in battle for your family, or like dying so they can get away. I'm sure they'd rather have you there.
it was like that social media post I read last time that we got together for the podcast. There's a guy in Texas that he had a illegal firearm and he had at a routine stop or
That's the way it
something.
should be.
The
It can't be
the cop
regulated.
tried to like arrest him for having a firearm and so I guess he was given a citation or something, and then like he was supposed to show up to court and he just refused to go to court. And then him and his family never left his compound. This is in Texas. He had like something like 72 acres, and him and his neighbors were the only ones allowed on the thing. And for like literally 25, 30 years, they never left the property. They had enough guns and ammo to defend their property, and the government never came on or anything.
What poem is that from? James Joyce? It's beautiful.
No, it's like so. It's like I was like to me, I was like, this dude's legit. I mean, he literally went up against the United States government.
He's like, all I got is this one life.
I believe in my life,
here.
and I believe my friends and family are our rights, and we're gonna stand for that. Now, but you don't really see that nowadays. Now you just see dudes transvestiting into women and going into women's locker rooms, and they're like, and then we got a whole mess of people being like, yeah, that's okay, and it's like,
yeah, and people just like,
or feminists being like, yeah, trans women are women, and
biology. You're not, but anyway, it's like I've always felt this way. Do what you want. You won't think you're a woman. You want to identify as a woman. Cool. But then that should be where it ends. Just let you do you over there, wherever, and that's it. Don't tell me I have to say you're a biological woman because you think you are. And that's a divisive topic, but it's the truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as I don't agree,
And also,
I'm also not the guy that's like that you'll see like down south. You're like, I'm not the guy that's like, let's go up and beat up on a bunch of gay people or transvestites.
Did I come off that way? Because I was
no. I'm just saying it's like that's not. It's like I don't give a shit. It's like you want to do that, fine, whatever. But like it's like don't. But I'm going to stand up for my rights if you come into my zone and you try to affect my beliefs, my Christian beliefs. Like I'm going to be upset. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to defend it.
I watched a podcast of Dry Creek Wrangler School and Dwayne on there, and he said like the perfect thing, which we can use in this. It's just there are people that I respect, men that I respect that I don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect thing. You can have a point and you can be like, this is what I believe in. and you can say it with your chest and be like, oh, you know what, I respect that guy. I don't like him, but I respect him. And like,
What if he's racist?
well, I don't particularly wouldn't probably like him. But
I don't.
if he thinks what he thinks it. You know, it's
I don't. I mean, I feel like there's a line. I mean, if you look at like the '60s and whatnot, people defending what they believed in that didn't seem actually right at all. Like, I don't understand the color thing like at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, there's also the reverse thing where like black people hate white people,
in
and
some areas,
racist is
yeah.
across the board regardless.
No, yeah, it's like
And there was like the Stop Asian
it's
Hate. There was like the
that in
whole.
America, it's really black versus white, but it's like in other countries, it's like literally like if you're in an
Well,
Islam,
In England, they
it's
can't stand Muslim people because they're like the Muslim invasion. That was like the
I
Middle
see,
Eastern
yeah,
invasion.
but that's not like
I have a
the
friend who lives
Islam's
in England, and that's like what he says. He's like, you can't go anywhere without seeing them, and it's like, holy shit! Like, dude, this is a multicultural
England,
America
yeah,
in
England or the UK. I mean, I feel like they're one of England's definitely
UK, but yeah,
England's definitely one of the most diverse areas
yes,
in the. But you know, again, and
he's in like
like the Roman
Glastonbury or
Empire,
Glass.
English Empire was literally massive, and they acquired all these territories. So what? Why would they not want to come back to like the homeland? You know, it's like same with the Roman Empire. I mean, people talk about why the Roman Empire collapsed, and basically it's a number of
Because they
things.
weren't
But
Greek.
no, it was definitely a cultural melting pot. But like you want to have an empire that big, obviously you're going to have different viewpoints, and you're acquiring all these different countries and religions and societies. But I mean, we're getting off topic. I mean,
You're getting off topic.
well, I'm getting off topic. We can talk about that in another podcast. But basically, what is man? I mean,
We'll sum it up.
what is masculinity? I think it comes down to really like we said, being secure,
Present,
being present, not beating your wife or girlfriend.
important.
You're a pussy. I'm sorry for those Christian people that follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a pussy if you're beating your wife. You don't even deserve to live. Um, it's kind of damn coming for you. And I was like, so being masculine.
I was gonna say maybe she deserved it, but god damn. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anyone deserves to be beaten on.
It's a joke.
It's like, and humility in some level. I think some level of romanticism is does not make you.
Most guys I know are like brain dead and have no ounce of romantic ability.
Like buying your girl flowers or like going out of your way to do something that she likes
chivalry
to do.
That is dead but isn't dead. It's like
you're
just
not
rare.
less of a dude. It's like if you wear pink, you're definitely not less of a dude. But if you wear too much pink,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Overcompensating.
Highlighter party kind of pink, yeah. Or undercompensating.
And you don't have to have a beard or a full flock of hair like us. You could be bald and still be masculine. Don't worry, bald guys out there.
They say that bald is what we're talking about today. Bald is the future of evolution.
Yeah.
Our history teacher used to say that.
Yeah. I mean,
he was a douche.
But
don't be like him. Sorry. If you see this one day.
Yeah.
I didn't like you. I still don't probably like you now, but it's okay.
I didn't have an issue.
I stand on principle.
I didn't have an issue with you only because I grew up with you. But, other people did. I was a goody too.
I would have headbutted you any chance I got. Anyway, I still believe that. But
perseverance and not giving up in a time of like, you can't come off and be like
trials.
You can't be like someone that tries to be masculine, like,
and then just fold,
and then fold under pressure. I mean, come on, dude. Be a dude, all right? It's like, yeah, we all have weak moments. I think it's good, like talking to someone and find like I use ChatGPT as my therapist. Find something, whether it's robot,
an outlet, yeah.
Or a
dude,
person.
That robot slaps, man.
I talked to Jake about stuff. I talked to my dad's friend about things. It's like, find someone to talk to and get your feelings out, because shit,
you can't keep it in. Yeah. You can't keep it in.
You can't keep it in.
And I would say there's a thing, and I'm working on this too. This is a big thing for me. And then I'm good. I know I've talked about everything that I've come on to say, but it was like when I decide something, and I've noticed this happen with me, particularly with females, and it's not their fault or mine. I've just noticed this. I've grown a lot. I'm someone who I can look in the mirror and be like, I'm very proud of this person. Like, I wouldn't trade me for anyone, no one in the universe. Like, I am who I am, and I'm cool with that. But I find sometimes, you have a low point, you have a challenging point, and you tend to fall back into old habits. I'm trying to break that. You know, I've accepted like I might have to walk my path alone until the right person comes into my life, and I'm fine with that. But sometimes, like being on Hinge or talking to multiple people at once, it's the truth. I am, and you make a decision. You say like, hey, you're really nice, you're very sweet, you deserve someone caring, whatever. Goodbye. And then a few weeks go by, and they hit you up, and they're like, "Are you sure you don't want to be just friends?" And you have that moment where you could be like, "Hey, again, nice to hear from you. Like, essentially, I'm good." But you let your emotions creep in, and I've been there where I'm like, "Oh, I'll entertain this," and I do, and then I'm like, "That was a mistake." But as long as you can acknowledge things, as long as you're growing or aiming yourself towards a positive goal, I think that's a manly trait. I don't think you have to have all the answers to be a man and just be a man. I think
Yeah,
the
no.
process is not linear. Like we were talking about ADD brains, and like I spiral when I think, and I grab everything on the way down. It's not a linear path. I think to be a man, it's like small little victories go a long way because it's about confidence and it's about
What
growth and
they
it's
say, it's
about
about the journey, not the destination.
yeah,
So basically,
and
like,
that's encompassing your entire life, so it never ends.
there's, as long as you're open to grow. I know a lot of people that classify themselves as masculine, and like they literally have no room for growth in their life. And the second you bring up any form of growth or a
Or criticism or
or constructive criticism, like they literally freak out. And it's like, dude, it's like you got to be. Was it was it like they said George Washington was the type of leader that listened to the little man. Like if you're a business owner or something and you're like, oh, my way or the highway, it's like you're overcompensating. Like if to be a true leader, you're not always the teacher, but the teacher is sometimes the student, and that's the way that you got to
mm-hmm.
be if you're going to be a good, if you want to be a leadership role
Did you
as a
get that from
masculine.
Mastery? Have you been reading Mastery?
Yeah, when that's not from there, but that's
Because
like
that sounded exactly like
that's like
from Robert Greene. Yeah, it sounded like
there's like a
the master becomes the apprentice, or the
the ma-
apprentice becomes the master, or
yeah,
they feed off each other, or
they
they have
feed
this
off of each other.
dynamic.
Yeah, I mean that's an
Yeah.
ongoing concept through that I've seen um as a characteristic that that has evolved through my life. It's like something I see where I'm working somewhere, I'm working for someone, and I in someone that doesn't want to listen or whatever, and it's like this is my way. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, what are you overcompensating
We were
for?
talking about
It's like,
this, and I was chat GBTing this, and I was like, my biggest problem with career based anything, I've had a lot of jobs. And, some people have a lot of jobs and they float through and they just do everything they're told and they're like a good soldier, so to speak. I analyze and I think, and I'd be like, I'm not going in there to be like, it's my way or not your way, but I'd sit there and be like, I'm doing it your way. What about this way? I'm open to you saying no, but I've noticed this is maybe an easier way. And then I have other people being like, who are working with me, hey, that's a good idea. That would make much more sense. I've actually thought of that too. And the boss being like, no, we do it my way because we've always done it my way since the beginning of time. And that's the way we do things. It's like,
it's like
dude,
you're like, oh well, I could help you.
you've already
I
died.
could increase your revenue by 25%. No, 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 we're
Just,
fine.
it's an
Just
ego
at
thing
passing. Yeah, it's like they don't want to like.
over the
No, yeah, you see that definitely with the older
like
generation.
I had
Like
an ego death, which can be associated with mushrooms. I didn't do mushrooms, but they say like you have an ego death
I've
where
done mushrooms a lot, but
yeah,
um,
I had a mushroom. Actually, I had a wedding at my parents' house, and I went to go retrieve said mushroom that had been in my fridge, and it was gone. It was gone. Somebody took it. I hope you didn't put it in the food because you're gonna be having a little heroic dose. It was penis envy. It was about that big. It was good. It was
every
a
time I
pretty
do
decent
that, I'll
sized
have like
one.
an existential crisis, being like, "What am I doing?" But
Yeah, it,
it's like
you can
I know the roadmap. It's like and you're not, and like we were saying, you can't make the transformations overnight. You
no.
got to
It's a
do
long
you
process.
got to take little bites and then achieve
Ooh,
little things one step at a time. So one of the things I was talking about with my dad's friend is you start with small things. It's like something small, like we were saying, like you got to read 5 pages a day, or not even. It's like even if you don't read the 5 pages a day, still find that you read 5 pages for 3 days that week. That is a
yes.
stepping stone to
Get
improving.
your brain
But you
firing
can't give up
correctly.
after. Let's say you didn't do the 5 pages, which I didn't do from this last podcast that we chatted about reading 5 pages a day. It's like, but I read stuff I read stuff, like maybe like 3 or 4 times. It's like that's still a win. So you can't give up and walk away. You just got to keep building and trying and trying and trying, and just not giving up. The second you give up, that's when a failure basically, and this is one of my mottos I live by. Failure is never a failure unless you fully give up on it.
Yeah, there can be times where you have like a moment of weakness where like I'm done, F this, I'm done. You start again.
Yeah.
You start again. And there's been a million times where I wanted to give up on something, like even working out, where I have like an injury, or I'm like, yeah, I'm done, I don't care. And then like a couple days later, I'm like, I could give it another shot. I could do it again. And you get up and you put your boots on and you go do the damn thing. And it's like, that's commendable. That's commendable. Yeah.
Perseverance.
Grit.
But,
that's a good one. Is grit. Yeah. I think that's a characteristic upon. I think that's what makes a good person. In the face of diversity,
True
never giving
grit.
up. Yeah.
Like the movie.
And that's all I have to say. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I'm going to finish with another quote.
Oh, good.
I'm huge on these quotes. I don't know. Oh, this is from the Odyssey of Man. I'm sorry. This is from the Odyssey that we talked about. And
my dog's licking your foot. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So basically, it's along the same lines. It's few sons are like their fathers. Most are worse. Few are better. So basically, like what that would mean to me is like if you had a father that was a a great leader or whatever person, like a lot of times the son's offspring are and end up being worse, and it's very few times that they end up being better than it, because they felt like they lived in their shadow the whole life or whatever,
Yeah.
but they didn't strive to be better people. But this can go the other way because you could be from a terrible father and like
it makes something of yourself,
and then you end up being that same person. I mean, you got to try to be better than your father was.
I have a perfect example for that, and I'll be very quick about it. But I have a friend who was just talking to me about their friend. Grew up with an abusive mother, and father not present at all, not even in their life. Moved like 15 times, and then through all this abuse and neglect and like growing up having to be self-sufficient with no emotional support, not only have they succeeded and thrived and developed, but now they're a mother, and that they're making a point to be an exceptional mother who is like so emotionally available. Like my parents are great parents, but they were never like, they're always there for me financially, and they would cook and clean and make sure I got to my appointments and stuff. And I'm very appreciative of that. Very appreciative of that. But they were kind of always cold, never emotionally available. So like with my daughter, I am overly emotional. Like how are you feeling? Do you need this? Do you need that? And I just want her to know, like, yeah, you are loved. Yeah. Like you are loved, you are safe, you are valued for who you are. You might do things that I don't like, but you're a person too. And yeah, you're under my roof and you have to follow my rules, but you're also your own person, and I'm not going to detract from that. I never got that growing up. So I think a man is to have the insight to know that and to see those things and to be like, I'm going to give you what I never had. Just like that person who grew up with an abusive mother, and she's like, I'm choosing to change. I'm choosing to do the hard thing when I could just slip in old habits of what I know and follow that lineage of bad behavior. They're stopping it in its tracks and being like, I'm making a change, and I'm going to be the person who is the change and put this good energy forward instead.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was a good dude and leader and whatnot, but he also had his faults. He wasn't perfect, but he never discussed a lot of that while he was alive. And it's something that has had an impact on me, which is why I'm like overly honest. Like, and it comes to a lot of different areas of my life. Like, I'm too honest. I share too much.
Same.
But that's because like my dad was a very like,
and you're an open soul
person.
Yeah.
That like didn't open up. Like he would present the good, never talked about the bad. It's like,
yeah, which is just as crucial. Like, right? It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking with his friend about. It was like, there's one thing about being a positive person, but if you're an overly positive person, that means you're overcompensating because
you're not a realist.
You need to talk about the negatives because the negatives are where you grow the most from. So I think that's something that we could end on and for y'all to think about, as I do it daily. It eats at my thoughts. But I'm Patrick.
I'm
Jake.
Odyssey Man.
And this is the Odyssey Man podcast. Peace out.